Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of the Rieg AD Wedding Show. Although this afternoon it's only Rieg, but it's still the Rieg AD Wedding Show. AD unfortunately can't make it this afternoon. So this afternoon our guest is Eugenie from St. Francis Links. She's the wedding and function coordinator over there, and we'll get into a Zoom call with her shortly. But beforehand, I thought I'll just share a little bit of information from our side regarding the move to level 3 and what that might hold for our clients. So we've all heard what the President said the other night, and although there won't be any weddings on level 3, we are quite sure that it'll be possible for us to start scheduling our pre-shoots, which I think there's quite a few brides out there that's going to be very glad that we can eventually photograph their pre-shoots and they can start getting their invites and those sort of things out for the weddings next year. But it's going to be a while before we get to level 0, and I don't see any weddings or weddings in big numbers taking place before level 0. So during level 1 and 2, there's a chance that there might be some weddings or small gatherings allowed, and that brings to the forefront the whole thing about live streaming. So just before the lockdown came into place, we photographed a wedding in Shepstone Gardens, or at Shepstone Gardens in Johannesburg. It was an absolutely stunning wedding. I think it was way over a year's planning that went into it, and a few days before the wedding they had to cut the guest list down from I think about 220 people to 100, and that 100 included the service providers. So that brought about another opportunity, and we actually live streamed that wedding to family and friends right around the world. It's the first time we ever live streamed a wedding, and it was a steep and quick learning curve, but we were able to do that. So that's also a service going forward that we'll be issuing, or a service that we'll be offering to all of our brides and grooms. And it's maybe not just a service that's applicable for the whole COVID-19 and the whole worldwide pandemic and the fact that the borders are closed and travel is a big problem. Often there's a family member or family members that cannot attend physically just due to the distance. They might be in a far off country, it might be too expensive to travel, or they might be not healthy enough to travel. And that's where live streaming comes in. And I mean, live streaming is not just limited to weddings, live streaming applies to all other special events or family events. So if you've got a family event or a small intimate wedding coming up and you need assistance with live streaming, talk to us. We can share with you the various options that's available, and it just makes so much more sense. I mean, you can just reach all those guests and those family members you previously couldn't get. They could actually still watch your wedding. And I think more than one wedding in the planning stage actually had an A and a B guest list. Well, think about it now. The A list can be all the guests that actually attend the wedding, and all the other family and friends that you maybe can't accommodate on the B list can actually watch the wedding via live streaming. So get in contact with us. We'll gladly share that with you. But for now, let me get Eugenie on the line, and let's hear what she's got to say about the St. Francis Links.
Good afternoon, Eugenie. Thank you very, very much for joining us on the Rieg AD Wedding Show. Unfortunately, AD can't make it right now, so it's only going to be me, so sorry for that. But yeah, let's get started. I mean, how's things there at St. Francis Links?
It's going well. Very windy here today. As maybe you can hear it in the backdrop, but yeah, it's very windy here. So thank you for having us on your show. We feel very honored to be a part of your wedding show. And yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll just apologize to the viewers that if there's any wind noise in the background on our side as well, we try to make it as quiet as possible, but the wind is howling today. I don't think it's gale force yet, but I think it's approaching gale force. So yeah, we've done our best to quiet it down as much as we can. So let's get started. I think, Eugenie, just give us a bit of background from a St. Francis Links point of view. Was wedding something that you planned to present from day one, or is that a service that you added over time? Because I mean, the Links is traditionally a golf course. So yeah, just for the viewers, is it something that was planned from day one, or is it something that you added later on?
Okay, so weddings was definitely not on our business plan when the Links opened in 2006. So Liesel Claus, she's our operations manager here. She was asked by one of our members whether her daughter could be married at the Links here. So Liesel has been involved in the wedding planning for many years, and she looked at the F&B team and said, team, let's do weddings. So that was the start of St. Francis Links, not only becoming the best new course to open in South Africa in 2006, but we also currently rated the number 6 golf course in South Africa, but now also a top wedding venue. And so we have lost count of how many weddings we've done over the past 12 years. I wanted to go and count it this morning, but we stopped at some stage. So I've been part of the wedding team here at the Links for 11 years now. And each wedding that we host, I treat like my own, putting in the love and passion that your special wedding day deserves. So yeah, that's how it started.
Yeah, it's always interesting to hear the story, because I think weddings is often not part of the big master plan, but it ends up becoming part of the plan as things go along. So thanks for that. So over and above the fact that the guys can have their wedding there, they can also play a round of awesome golf.
Yes.
So I think on that point, maybe tell us a little bit more in terms of what services the Links offer any newly engaged bride and groom, in terms of various options, and also, you know, obviously you provide the venue, but over and above the venue, what can you assist with, you know, from call it a wedding planning point of view, flowers or catering, etc. So it would be nice if you can elaborate as much as you can on that.
Okay, so St. Francis Links is located about an hour's drive from Port Elizabeth. So we are very blessed with our beautiful surrounds that we have around us, with the natural beauty of St. Francis Bay, like the Fynbos, the Sand River Nature Reserve, and the ocean as a backdrop for our weddings. We host ceremonies on a lawn that's outside of our clubhouse that overlooks our 18 fairway, the St. Francis Village, and of course the ocean. We also host ceremonies on a beach at Cape St. Francis with the stunning lighthouse in the backdrop. We also have a small church here in St. Francis. So if couples still want that traditional church feel wedding, they can still have that too. Our reception venue has amazing views of the golf course and the mountains to the north right of the clubhouse. Our venue can seat up to 210 guests, which including a dance floor. Our couples come from all over the world to enjoy a beautiful ceremony and reception here at St. Francis Links, or even 3 days of joyous activity to celebrate such a special moment in two people's lives. We can host family get-togethers the night before to the brunch on the morning of the wedding. And as you said earlier, we are also a golf course, so we offer reduced green fees to our guests of the wedding, and suggest that you host a fun afternoon golf day the day before with the wedding with the groom and all your guests. Then we also have an on-site spa, so we can spoil the ladies there with pampering with a glass of bubbles. Okay, we also have a professional in-house wedding coordinator, a head chef, and then we have well-trained service staff to take care of all the details for your special day. With, of course, the assistance of professional service providers like yourself, a photographer, decor, minister, DJ, etc. We guarantee that your wedding will be a fairy tale that you have always dreamed of.
Well, I think if I understand you correctly, it's almost like a one-stop shop. I don't want to say fully a one-stop shop, but I mean, you can provide, I think for especially the out-of-town clients, you know, you make it easy for them that they can contact you. And I want to say about 60 to 70% of all the arrangements can be done by you. And, you know, it's just maybe a photographer, a videographer, minister, 1 or 2 other service providers that you can probably also assist with, but you make the newly engaged couples' lives easy. I think that's the main thing. You help them to get all the difficult planning done.
Yeah.
I think just one point on the views, that's one thing that we can contest to. Those views are absolutely stunning. From, you know, if people get married on the grass, if the weather allows outside, it's always for me one of the most beautiful views to look out over the whole of St. Francis and over the bay, with Jeffreys Bay technically in the background. And at night, if you're in the reception area, you've got those beautiful lights from Humansdorp. So it makes for such a beautiful and almost like a fairy tale setting, if I could put it that way. It really is one of the most beautiful settings around. Cool. I think we've been privileged to be able to photograph a few weddings there over the years, but for people who haven't been there yet, what options do they have in terms of the photos? Is it only on the links, or is there close by areas where you can get some stunning photographs?
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we are blessed with the natural beauty that St. Francis Bay has. So luckily in St. Francis, the distance is not very big to travel to photo spots. So which is a great plus point for the photographer and the venue to stay on track with the timing. So I would say St. Francis is definitely a spots that we always recommend the bride and the couples and the photographers to go to is the lighthouse. Obviously our golf course, there's a few nice holes on the course, and the canals, which is also a stunning place to rent a house to get dressed at on the day, and then also the port and the wild side. And then obviously a must-have photo is the sunset rocks. Just when a golden hour hits, it's the very, very, very stunning photo to have. And then we here at the Links, a popular photo that we do is we get all...
Eugenie, I think we had a bit of a bad connection there for a short moment. If I, you were talking about the photo, that you take from the top. So that's where you get all the guests together on the lawn below, and then it actually makes for a stunning group photograph. Because I think that's often one of the biggest challenges for a photographer, is to get everyone together for the group shot. And if you can photograph it from an elevated position with beautiful golf courses in the background, it just makes our lives so much easier. And I must agree with you, there's few places as beautiful as Sunset Rocks, especially one of those beautiful evenings where everything just lines up and the sun sets. And it's also one of the few places in our area where we can actually photograph the sunset. So yeah, I agree with you. It's absolutely, absolutely stunning. From your side, as a long-term wedding planner and someone who's been doing this for a long, long time, what is your best advice for newly engaged couples starting this whole process of planning their wedding, keeping in mind that we are now even in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, which probably makes things a little bit more difficult, but fortunately we seem to be moving out of it, so there appears to be light at the end of the tunnel. But share with us what is maybe your best advice to a new couple starting their planning journey.
Okay, so I first discovered how difficult it can be when you start looking for a wedding venue. Once I started planning my own, because you know I'm privileged to work at a wedding venue, and I thought, okay, I knew everything. But once I were on the other side of it, I've soon discovered that listen, there's some pointers that a bride needs to start planning their wedding. And to choose the perfect wedding venue. So I think the top pointers for me is decide on the theme for your wedding. Then decide on your wedding date and have a few options available, because some wedding venues are booked months in advance. And then next is start a budget. It's important to have this ready when you start looking at your venues, because you can also tell the planner, this is my budget, and I can tell you what you can have at the venue, and they can alter it, so they can remove some things to suit your budget. Ask the venue what service providers is included in their packages. Some venues, like ourselves, we don't include the services of service providers, but we work closely with them all, and we recommend those service providers that will suit your budget. Also ask them what is included in the venue hire fee, like tables, chairs, staffing, after midnight fees, etc. And then, of course, we're also all aware that our electricity supply in South Africa is not always stable and trustworthy. So ask the venue if they have a backup power supply. And then the next point I would say is important is accommodation, because some of your guests might be traveling in. So we have various options here available in St. Francis, on our estate, off our estate. And then we're also lucky to have Jeffreys Bay also about a half an hour away from us. So some people make a whole weekend of it. Before choosing a venue, also ask the venue for the reviews from previous couples. I think this is a true reflection of the venue from a bridal couple's perspective, and not just from you as a wedding planner. And then there's also like various wedding planning checklists sites that you can use. We as a venue, we always give that to our couples so that they don't stress about, planning the wedding. And there's points that they can work off, and they can tick as they're going along with their wedding planning.
Well, Eugenie, thank you very much for that. And I think you've touched on quite a few aspects there, but I think nowadays the accommodation is becoming a bigger and bigger part of it, because a lot of couples, especially if they're from out of town, or like I know a lot of your clients are from overseas, they like to stay close by. And again, if people are having fun at the reception, the last thing you want to worry about is people having to drive around. So just out of interest, how many people roughly can you accommodate on the estate? I know you can obviously find spots for them in St. Francis and, like you mentioned, in Jeffreys Bay. But on the estate, roughly how many guests can you accommodate for the average wedding?
Okay, so about 120 guests, and so it's about 60 bedrooms. We were planning on building a hotel here, but now we all know with this pandemic, I don't think that's going to happen soon or, continue soon. But yeah, probably about 120 guests if all of the accommodation is available. And what's nice about the accommodation is that you can rent the house again for a weekend and family share it. So it's not like B&B that you're in a room with people that you don't even know. So you're with family together the whole weekend.
I think that's a tremendous plus for you. I mean, having the ability to accommodate 120 people, I mean, that's a huge amount. A lot of venues can often accommodate 20 or 30 or maybe 40 people, but I mean, 120 is a big chunk of most weddings. So thank you very much for that.
Yes.
I think in closing, from my side, we've talked about the venue and all those sort of things, but I mean, you've been involved in many weddings, and like you said, you realized when you started planning your own wedding how much planning goes into it. Is there any other tips that you can give a perspective for newly engaged bride and groom that's not maybe venue related, but just in general when starting this whole journey and planning their wedding?
Okay, so my best advice and tip, and I give it to every bride that I see, is use the advice of your service providers, because they have been in the industry for years and they know all the tricks and trades and all the mistakes and all the good things that happen. And on the day of your wedding, take a step back and trust your service providers to deliver the wedding that you have been always dreamed of and that you've been planning for months, and some brides even planned it for years. If you worry too much on the day, you will miss certain things. You will miss certain moments. If something goes wrong, or if the weather is not playing along, don't let it ruin your day. Guests will not know how it was supposed to be. Only you will, and your service providers will ensure that that thing that happened or something that went wrong will still be magical in the end, and that no one will notice what went wrong.
Thanks for that. I think that's the number one thing we always try and reiterate to our couples is that if something goes wrong, it's only them that will know that. None of their guests will be aware of those problems. And I think one thing that we can really confirm is that with all the weddings that we've been involved at the Links, I mean, your team is incredible in managing the day. And back to that point of getting professional service providers. I think those two tips: relax on the day and get professional people. We had a chat to a caterer the other day, and it came up that, and we've also experienced it on 2 occasions where family members were involved in the planning, that the food, for instance, had run out and things like that. And where if you really took that step back and you appointed the professional people, it's our jobs, it's what we're passionate about, to make sure that you get the wedding you want. And I think back to the planning part, what you mentioned, those couples who were planning for months are now going to end up planning for years, because as you probably know, most of our weddings got moved to late this year or early next year. So we wish them all the best, and I think you agree that we all can't wait to start doing weddings again. I think we can't wait for that moment.
Definitely we can't. Yeah.
Eugenie, thank you.
Yeah, so the whole COVID-19 pandemic that's happening now is definitely a learning curve for us all. And I know that a lot of things will change on how we do weddings. But I know all the professional service providers or any service provider that's out there will definitely ensure that your wedding day is still the occasion, with all the little things that we need to add now with the whole virus, that will still be talked about months after your wedding. So we shouldn't stop booking weddings, we shouldn't stop planning weddings, because we'll still continue. It will just continue in a different way how we used to do things. And I think that's in our everyday lives that is also changing at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, so we're all positive and we all hope for level 0 as soon as possible.
Yeah,
just
as possible. Yeah.
Just on a very interesting note, I don't know if you've heard this, but I read an article last night where some overseas couple got married totally via Zoom. So they had like a conference call set up with all of their guests, all the people that was supposed to speak. So I think, technology do provide us the ability to do things like that. But I think we'll all agree that the beauty of a wedding is actually all the people coming together, having all your loved ones and your family in one room, in one place, and being able to mingle with them, not via some sort of a device. So although those things are awesome, that people can do things like that, I think we all can't wait to get back to doing weddings the way they should be. So thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our guests in closing?
No, that's all. I'm just looking forward to host and plan weddings again. I think we all, get going.
We all do. So, Eugenie, thank you very, very much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And good luck on that site. And we really, truly hope that we can, next time we see one another, it's when we are actually facilitating a wedding for someone.
Yeah.
So,
agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, Eugenie. That was incredible. I think both myself and AD, if she was here, would say the same, that we've never been at the links of a wedding where we weren't overall just impressed with the amount of detail and the attention to detail that you and your team stick to. So yeah, just the best for you guys at St. Francis Links. We hope that the next time that we see one another, it's when we are actually photographing a wedding. We can't wait for that. And to all of our subscribers and viewers out there, thank you very much for watching. See you in episode 10. And we will be talking to well-known dress designer Johan Wolmerans. And remember, those who are not yet subscribed, please just hit the subscribe button here at the bottom. And remember, when we get to 1,000 subscribers, we will have that lucky draw for a Rieg AD family lifestyle or couple shoot to the value of 3,000 Rand. And all you have to do is just simply subscribe to our show. Thank you very much and see you next time.